What's up, everyone? Boost Studios here with another video, and I think I really want to get this off my chest. Now, I don't know. I'm gonna try to explain this as at least calm as I can without sounding like an angry madman. I hate the railgun. I absolutely despise this thing with my very own soul. I I don't. I hate it. I hate the railgun. I really hate the railgun. I don't find it fun to go up against, and I do not think it's healthy for the game. And it's the most broken weapon currently in the game right now. I hate this thing. This weapon really needs to go. Now, I'm going to explain why I really despise this weapon in a burning passion. Now, keep in mind, the weapon is not fun to go up against. At least my personal opinion. I know some people have different tastes. I personally don't like this weapon. I think this weapon is really unhealthy for the game, and it really just makes the game like generally unplayable on some occasions too. Like generally unfun to go up against, and can just really make the game unplayable too, for the killer side at least. But anyways, I'm gonna cut some slack and explain how the railgun works and everything. So yeah. So the railgun is a weapon that only you can purchase from the shop in the lobby, which means you have to play it yourself, of course. It requires 100 kills in order to buy this thing. It costs 1,000 tokens. Now I'm going to read the description of what it does. The railgun is a large weapon that requires a long charge up, and while holding, the player is slowed and cannot run. It is like a sniper, but shoots explosive bullets that deals huge damage. Aim for the head. Okay, now looking at the railgun, what it says in the description, that doesn't sound like a big deal, right? A railgun that behaves like a sniper and will be really deadly if only you shoot the killer in the head. Pretty balanced. Well, no, it's not. It is the most broken, most unfun to go up against, and the most stupid thing ever to be added to this game. This weapon was actually not that bad back then. Because I'm going to explain why in a second, why I think the weapon is absolutely unhealthy for the game and really makes the game unplayable for the killer side of things right now. Um, so how the railgun works is that, yeah, it's supposed to be a sniper rifle pretty much, but it's explosive. Basically, when you hold it, you slow down. You have to hold the fire button to charge it up. Once fully charged, you release the fire button, boom. It will straight up actually, do what it's supposed to do. But here's the issue that I have with the railgun, especially currently right now. The railgun itself it's not bad, okay? But the issue is when the November update happened. The update that added in my character DBX and all that into it. The railgun used to only deal 50 damage, okay? 50 damage. Now, at the time, the marksman was pretty much like the railgun used to deal only 50 damage pretty much. Back then, if that was the case, the railgun pretty much took some skill to get used to. And actually, the railgun, yeah, even though it's easier to use than the sniper rifle at least during the time, it basically took more skill to use than the sniper rifle, despite, being explosive. But 50 damage doesn't sound like a big deal. But no, when the November update happened, the weapon got buffed to let me see here. 90 damage. 90 damage. So instead of the weapon actually, needing to take some skill, or at least, I don't know, maybe not being broken, um, yeah, the weapon is just stupidly unbalanced now at this point, and it's not fun. Again, it's not fun to go up against, and it's really game breaking because you can go against maybe 5 people with this thing, and it'll just make the game unplayable for the killer side of things at this point. I don't know why it need to be buffed. I think the idea of the railgun being an explosive sniper rifle is, again, not bad. But I think if they just kept, I think if the weapon was just kept to just only dealing 50 damage, like, okay, so it's supposed to be a sniper, right? Um, okay, so it deals 50 damage, but the headshot damage should deal more damage. That would be fine, you know? Like, okay, so the blast radius would deal like 50 damage. The headshot damage, obviously you have to shoot the enemy directly in the head, would deal like, I don't know, pretty much, I don't know, something like that. That would have been fine. But when that weapon got buffed to now doing 90 damage now instead of like 50 damage, not only did the weapon become extremely broken, but it pretty much just makes Killer almost unplayable in a sense. Because, like, God forbid, it could take one person, only one guy to use the railgun, and that's it. The killer is just screwed. Like, any of the killers are screwed. Like, even if an army of killers can just rush in there and take out your team, only takes like one blast on this thing, and like probably like 3 or 4 killers are just done for. Like, it is that busted. And half of the killer roster can just be insta-killed by this thing. Because since the railgun only does 90 damage now, keep in mind, 90 damage. Half of the kill roster, which by the way, half of them only have below 90 health, which means they can be one-shotted by this thing. Who are the killers that can be insta-killed by the railgun? Oh, let me show the list. Jeff the Killer and Eyeless Jack. Cool Kid and Kara. Chucky and Psycho. Crazed Noob. Shapeshifter and Fawati. Sonic.exe. DBX and Hunter. Leatherface. And Supersonic.exe. I could be missing maybe a couple or so, but my point still stands. Half of these guys can really be insta-killed by the railgun. And you know what I say about the idea of being insta-killed? Not fun. That is not fun at all. Now, I know you guys are going to be like in the comments saying, but Blue, Slenderman and Flowers can insta-kill you? Oh, yeah. The two only killers in the game that can insta-kill you. Only two killers that can insta-kill you. Yeah, here's the thing. The reason why these two are fine because of two simple things. One, there's limits to how you can play as them. I think flowers, there can only be like 2 or 1 flowers before no one else can play them. As for Slenderman, only one person can play as Slenderman. Now, the second thing is, Slenderman is locked behind a paywall. Like, Slenderman is a Game Pass killer, meaning only people that purchase the Slenderman Game Pass can play as Slenderman. Now, that is fine. Not to mention, Flowers and Slenderman are really slow. Yes, despite the fact they can one-shot you, they are really slow. So, any player with a brain knows how to, avoid them at all costs. Or, if a team of soldiers and all that, like mechs and such, obviously, like, they just gotta use their brains and they can just easily kill the Slenderman or Flowers with no issue whatsoever. Yeah, like, they'll get like one guy or so, but like, they're gonna end up dying if there's like an army of like soldiers firing at them at once. Now, why is the railgun the biggest issue? Well, I'm gonna explain the issues I have with the railgun personally. One, um, 90 damage. Again, really can insta-kill like at least half of the roster of killers, which again, is not fun to go up against. Um, and second off, if you're gonna make, if you're gonna add in a really, really OP weapon in this game, no, that weapon should be extremely expensive to get. And there should become, I don't know, there should become some kind of balance to it. But I think the problem is the railgun didn't need that buff. I think 50 damage was fine. I think the railgun, like having like 50 damage would have been fine because, like, first off, it's a sniper rifle but explosive. Like, I think it's already strong enough when it shoots explosive rounds that can really damage any killer near its blast radius. Because again, if you're shooting it as in an army with killers, it's pretty much already impactful. Like, it's already enough they can like at least two-shot like lower health killers. But like now it can like one-shot half of the freaking roster now, which is insane. Which again, I don't think that should. The railgun didn't even need a buff to begin with. Like again, it's supposed to be an explosive sniper rifle. It should at least take some skill to use. But because of the buff, players, especially really sweaty ones, can just turn off their brain and just sit in one spot, especially spots where survivors can just easily camp, and the killers can just can't do much about it because there's one guy with a railgun just ready to insta kill half of them. Um, yeah, I'm just saying it's not healthy for the game. It's not fun. I don't think it needed to be buffed. It didn't need a buff, but it did because why not? Um, how do I fix the railgun? Perhaps. Oh yeah, I also want to mention there's these like certain slots. Not to mention there's a very big issue with the game at one point where like there's this gate that survivors can just camp on top of, especially people that are using the railgun. Now, at the time, this was pretty much a BS strategy because it really makes it impossible for the killers to be able to do anything about it. Because a team of survivors can just camp in one spot, one guy with a railgun can just camp on top of the gate, and then the killers pretty much practically cannot play the game at this point. Um, now this now this was recently fixed, of course. But there's another issue now that I just recently discovered. There is the same spot, the same exact spot that players can go to camp on top of the gate after climbing up the watchtowers. There's a big rock that players can climb up of, right? And there's these like, there's a big rock that you can climb up top of, right? Guess what? Normally there's a when you climb up this rock, yeah, the rock that I just climbed up of as Hunter. Um, you can climb up actually after further than that. Normally, you can easily fall out of bounds, but there are players that can actually go around the tiny, walls that normally you can fall off of by going out of bounds. They can really climb, they can really move around after climbing up the rock, not only camp on top of the barrier, but they can really take advantage of it. Now, if it's like Ride Runner or a mech being on top of the invisible barrier, that's no issue. But that's what I'm going to get into. The railgun. Any player with a brain can just abuse the invisible barrier spot, a spot that you're probably not even supposed to get on top of to begin with. Simply just use the railgun and just camp there all game and just make it impossible for the killer to be able to do anything. Now I know there's people gonna be arguing with me in the comments saying, "Oh, just don't go to that spot then," or "Oh, just play tanky killer." Well, guess what? What if I want to kill? Because if the one way to avoid getting insta killed is to not go to that specific spot, is also not just like first off, it's not just like I don't know, not fun to just sit there and wait just to like be able to do anything at all. It's also boring. Like I'm sorry, I don't want to fucking sit and wait for 10 minutes just for the railgun user to become vulnerable just to finally get one kill. It is boring. I want to actually kill a survivor as killer, not wait 20 minutes just to kill one guy. Like, I'm not kidding. I was playing as Kara, and there was one guy camping somewhere with a railgun. And you want to know how long it took me to kill that one specific railgun user? 10 minutes. 10 minutes just to kill one person with a railgun. Well, the railgun user. 10 minutes to kill one player as Kara. Because I had to keep waiting for them to fire that thing just so I can run up to them, hit them at least 2 or 3 times, run back away so I don't get one-shotted, and then just rinse and repeat until that player is dead. And then the only time that player actually decided to run away from me now is when I got into extremely low health. That player ended up finally running away, but it was already too late. I finally killed that guy. Now, I would have been satisfied about this. I'm not. I'm not happy about killing that one particular player because that wasn't fun. I don't like having to wait 10 minutes just to kill one player. Yes, I could have just fucked off of that area entirely and just found a different player. But here's the issue. The entire Survivor team were camping in that one particular spot entirely. So I couldn't really go anywhere to find anyone else because the entire Survivor team were only in that one spot. So the only way I could really kill anyone else is to kill survivors in that one spot. So how do I have to deal with that? So how do I have to get the chance to kill other survivors? Oh yeah, I gotta kill the railgun user, which means I have to specifically focus on this guy just so I can actually attack the others without issue. Which again is boring and really not fun to do. I don't like having to wait a long fucking time just to kill only one person. Again, it took me 10 minutes to kill one survivor as Kara. Actually, probably less than 10 minutes. I think I'm going a little overboard. But, like, that's just how it is. Like, if it's going to take one killer, or probably multiple killers, that long just to kill one person because they're using a weapon that can really insta-kill half their roster, there's clearly an issue here. Now, I don't think I need to even say. I don't think I need to say anything more than this. That weapon either has to go or just get straight up nerfed to how it used to be. The weapon didn't need to be buffed. 50 damage was completely fine enough because it's technically already strong enough and dangerous enough to begin with because it was really an explosive sniper rifle that can deal blast damage to any nearby killers. But no, it got buffed and really just. And not to mention the other issue I want to discuss. Yeah, I know that when you buy a weapon, there's a cooldown before you can buy it again. Well, guess what? What if you're going against a full team of survivors that want to use multiple railguns at once? One player can buy the railgun. Guess what? The second player can just wait patiently, and then they'll purchase a railgun. Great, we got 2 railgun abusers using it now. What's next? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, a third player can wait patiently. Great, 3 railgun users. A fourth player waiting patiently for the cooldown. Great, 4 railgun users. Rinse and repeat, and we'll have like 10 railgun users. You see what I mean? You see what I'm talking about at this point? At this point, it's just gonna make the game unplayable for the killer side of things. And and we do not need a problem like Legacy had. Remember in the Legacy version of Become the Killer, where where 5 people can just become Slenderman, and it just makes the game unplayable for the Survivor side of things? Yeah, we're gonna have the same problem with Recode if the railgun continues to stay in this broken state that it already was. Because 10 players, I'm not kidding you, if it ever gets to that point, 5 or 10 players, survivors, can just wait patiently for them damn cooldowns, and we're gonna have to worry about 5 railgun users, and it will just make Killer unplayable. Do we want that same issue like we had with Legacy, where people can just play, where 10 players can just be 10 Slendermans, and survivors are just straight up cooked? Yeah, I don't think we need that. We do not need the same issue with Recode again. This is one of the biggest things to why Legacy was an unbalanced mess. Because I'm gonna be honest, as much as I love Become the Killer Legacy, I can also admit Legacy was such an unbalanced mess to the point Recode was way better because it was more balanced than Legacy. Now I still love Legacy, but God forbid, I also think Legacy has its own issues too. But like now it's just Legacy all over again at this point. But instead of the survivors having to suffer, now it's the killers that have to suffer now. It's reverse. It's really reverse at this point. Now, how can I fix the railgun? How can the railgun actually be fixed? One, I think the railgun's damage should be reverted back to 50. I think either 50 damage is enough or 60 damage. I don't know. I think 50 or 60 damage would be fine. And and another thing I can do to fix the railgun if it really continues to be problematic, if it still is causing problems, maybe increase the price to like I don't know, maybe 250, tokens or something, or maybe 3,000 tokens. I think that'd be a more fair price for a straight up OP weapon. Oh, I want to also do a comparison with another weapon that's also really strong. Yet for some reason, that said strong and OP weapon is way more balanced than the railgun. The Slayer, the fucking Slayer sword. Yes, the Slayer sword, the most powerful melee weapon in the game, is more balanced than the railgun. Because first off, um, the freaking let me see, oh yeah, the Slayer sword only used to deal. Well, okay, back then it used to deal like 50 damage, I think, but it got nerfed to 45 damage now, which it's okay. It's still pretty good. Now, and of course, it damages the killers if survivors actually successfully walk with the Slayer. Now, why is the Slayer more balanced than, the Railgun? Well, it's pretty obvious. One, the Slayer does not one-shot you. In fact, the Slayer only can one-shot, like, what? Probably one killer. Probably Chucky? I don't know. But, like, technically, like, pretty much the Slayer does not fucking insta-kill you. And two, it's a melee weapon, which means it still takes some risk to use. Because the Slayer is really only good for taking out one killer at a time, mainly killers with lower health. If you try to take on an army of killers with the Slayer, you're just screwed. The Railgun, on the other hand, is not only a brain dead weapon to just straight up use, because all you have to do is just camp somewhere and you're just ready to get free kills. It's just It really just insta kills half the roster. I cannot believe that a freaking melee weapon, the Slayer, I can't believe the most overpowered. Okay, I want to say overpowered because again, the Slayer is way more balanced. But the fact that the strongest melee weapon in the game is more balanced than the strongest range weapon in the game, not just that's just ridiculous. But honestly, I think the best way to nerf the railgun is to one, revert its damage back to 50, because I think 50 was enough, because it's an explosive sniper rifle, by the way. And what else? Oh yeah, um, make it more expensive, because like seriously, 1,000. I think 3,000 or 250 would be fine. Because it's supposed to be an OP weapon. Like I don't know, dude. I think the railgun should either just be nerfed or just straight up removed from the game. I don't know how. And again, and I'm gonna say this right now. I don't hate this game. I still love this game. This game is still fun. But I think the biggest issue right now, currently in the game, is the railgun. Now, don't even get me started with Rocketeer. That guy was extremely best. Rocketeer was an extremely problematic survivor. But then when he got, I'm gonna be very honest. Rocketeer was such a balancing nightmare. I'm not kidding when I'm saying this. Rocketeer was such a nightmare when it comes to balancing. Because like, when Rico first released, Rocketeer was the most broken survivor. he was able to span jump and such, and he was able to sprint faster while using the rocket launcher. Then he got nerfed, where I think he couldn't be able to jump while using the rocket launcher. But even then, he was still busted, even with that small tiny nerf. But then Recode closed down because of things. But then Recode reopened back up like as time went on. Rocketeer was still busted. But then Rocketeer got nerfed one time, where he's actually really slow when he's holding the rocket launcher. Okay, really good nerf. Now Rocketeer actually has to not rely on himself. He has to rely on his teammates in order to do something. Cool. But then the November update happened, where Rocketeer just became broken again. This time, Rocketeer has a secondary weapon, a grenade launcher. Yeah, Rocketeer was able to sprint again with both that and the rocket launcher again. Great, Rocketeer is overpowered as shit again and just makes the game unfun again. But then Rocketeer got nerfed, and it's the same nerf. Now he's slow again if he holds either the grenade launcher or the rocket launcher. Okay, fine, keep him that way. But now we got the other biggest problem in this game right now, the railgun. I I just I don't know what else to say. I think the railgun iron needs to be reverted, but I think the damage of the railgun should be reverted back to either 50 or just nerf it to 60 damage or something. I don't know. Something that would not make it something more. I don't know. Just something that would make it more fair to go up against. And if that cannot happen, I think the weapon should just be removed. I don't find it enjoyable to go up against. I think the weapon is extremely unhealthy for the game and will just make the game unplayable for the killer side at some point if it gets worse. Again, I don't hate this game. The only reason I'm making this video is to give fair criticism. As I said, fair criticism. I am trying to be as fair as I possibly can without sounding like a massive jerk. Because I love this game, and the only reason I am giving this fair criticism is because I care about this game. Why do you think my character, and even why do you think some of my stuff got added in this game to begin with? Because I actually show love and care to this game. Like, I care about this game. I think the game deserves more love than it already has gotten. But I think the game would be a more healthy state if it was balanced. And right now, the railgun is in its most unhealthy, unbalanced state right now. And I think if the railgun gets nerfed, or at least, I don't know, something that will make the railgun, I don't know, not fun to go. I don't know, dude. I think the railgun just needs some nerf that will make it not as painful to deal with, and everything will have been fine. Rocketeer got nerfed. I think the railgun should get nerfed too. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. I'm Blue Cyber Studios. I'll catch you all next time.